We're going to learn a very crucial skill in adding and subtracting fractions. Now, we already know that if you have, let's say, 1/3 plus 1/3, because we have this common denominator, the answer is 1 plus 1, 2. Now, what if we do not have a common denominator? That's what we are trying to see today. Okay, so if you think about a fraction like 2/3 plus 1/6. Now, the crucial part is they do not have a common denominator. The denominator for the first fraction is 2/3, it's 3. And the denominator for the second fraction is 6. Now we cannot add or subtract them. Even if it's for subtraction, we cannot do it without the common denominator. Now the skill of making a common denominator is very important. Okay, now look at these two numbers, 3 and 6. So how would you make a common number? That's the logic. Either you can multiply them together, or you just have to do one fraction, so make an equivalent fraction. Okay, so now what we are going to do here is 3 times 2 will give you 6. That's the logic. Now we got the common denominator to 6. Now we don't do it for just the denominator, then we will not get the equivalent fraction. So in order to get the equivalent fraction, we have to do that on the top as well. Now what we get is 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6. Now the logic is 2/3 and 4/6 are equivalent. They are the same. Now the advantage is we got a common denominator because we got 6 for both fractions. Now if you know how to do that, it's very simple. The common denominator is already there. Then you add 4 plus 1, it's 5. So the answer for this one, 2/3 plus 1/6 is 5/6. I'll give you some more examples, then we will try to learn that. Okay, so let's put it 2/9 plus 1/3. Now we have to think, where will you go with it? Like, we have to get a common denominator. So look at this 9 and 3. They are 9 is actually a multiple of 3, so therefore it's easy. So here 3 times 3 will give you 9, but don't do it only for that. You have to do it for the numerator as well. So you got the next fraction 2/9 plus 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9. Now these two are equivalent fractions, that's why you can add them. Okay, so 3 plus 2 is 5 and the fraction is 9/5. This is how you add a fraction when there are no common denominator. Now there are some other things also. Let's think about 1/4 plus 3/5. Now we cannot do it just converting one fraction into an equivalent fraction, because if you do 4, 8, 12, nowhere is 5, right? So 5, 10, 15, nowhere is 5. But when you look at 5 times 4 will give you 20. 4 times 5 also will give you 20. So what we are going to do is 4 times 5 here, 1 time we do on both sides. Okay, but 5 times 4 here, because 5 times 4 is 20. So we know that we will get a 20 there, but we do that on the top as well. So 1 times 5 is 5, 4 times 5 is 20, plus or subtract. If you have a subtraction, you just do the same thing. Okay, 3 times 4 is 12, 5 times 4 is 20. So now we got the common denominator. That's the logic about. So 5 plus 12 will give you 17 as the answer, and the answer is 17. Sometimes you may get a fraction that you need to simplify, or you may get a fraction that you need to let's say make it into an improper fraction, convert it into a mixed number or something. Okay, so let's think about 3/4 plus 2/3. Now here also 4 times some number 3, 4, we will not get that number. So that's the logic. So you multiply this one with 3, but on the top also 3, but this one with 4 on the top also 4. Now if you see that you can make a 12 here out of it, you already got the answer because 12 is a common denominator. So when we made that common denominator, we did some adjustment on the top in order to get the equivalent fraction. So 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 times 4 is 8. Now 9 plus 8 is 17 over 12. So this has gone to a improper fraction. So we learned how to convert that. 12 will go into 17 one time, and the remaining part is 5, and the denominator is 12. So sometimes you will have to convert that into a mixed number, but the skill that we applied is the same. Okay, so try to get a common denominator. Okay, now let's think about minus 1/2. So how would you do? This is a bigger number you are going to subtract, therefore you should get an answer that's negative. Logically you cannot subtract a half from a quarter, but we know that you multiply here with 2, here with 2, so you get is 1/4 minus 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. Now we got the answer 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is -1, but the common denominator. So you got the answer as -1/4. Now addition or subtraction, you need a common denominator. Then all the integer rules like and signed number rules are all there. The skill is in making a common denominator, creating a common denominator. Without that you cannot add or subtract. Now creating a common denominator, if you are multiplying a number on the denominator, so you have to do the same thing on the top. That's the only thing you have to do it. Okay, so then get a common denominator, then try to add or subtract fractions without common denominator.